So, hello, I'm Ralph Hewins, I'm CFO of Elementis. We're a FTSE 250 mid-cap company. We have a PLC based in the UK, but we have operations internationally. Principal operations are an additives business that draws on a very special clay mine in California that provides additives for the paints business, for the oil field drilling business, and for personal care. We also have a chrome chemicals business based in the United States that provides products for the United States and internationally. And we've recently bought a company for the personal care business, which supplies antiperspirant additives. And very recently we've purchased a talc business, an industrial talc business based in Finland and Amsterdam. So quite a broad business. The thing that really links them together is their materials that really enhance performance for our business-to-business customers. A couple of finance initiatives that we've accomplished in the past couple of years have been the development of Standard MI and the systematic allocation of capital. On MI, what we've done there is move to a systematic approach of standardized MI, rather than having different businesses produce their own MI in slightly different ways. That provides a tendency towards sort of storytelling. Standardized MI provided by the finance function on a standard day in the month allows both the leadership of the individual businesses to talk about their business in a certain way, but also the executive team to understand what's really going on with the business, and that's been a big help. On CapEx, we've moved to a system where every single investment that is over $250,000 comes to the CEO in a meeting once a month. There's a pretty standard form that people have to go through to explain why they want the money, and it's a bit of a grilling that people get. If you want to have that money, you need to account for it. There's no paper flow as much as people actually have to stand up and explain why they need the money, and it helps us prioritise capital, which is a really, really important thing. Well, the future is unknowable, but I think of the role of the finance function in four different areas. So the first, and in a way the most important role, is protect. The 4 Ps, and protecting the business, making sure that there's good level of control and compliance of the business. I think increasing use of data and automation will allow more preventative controls and more detective controls of the business. So I think that role is going to continue. It's just a matter of using more data to support that and systematic approach to it. The second P in terms of the role of the finance function is process, which is sort of running the AP, the AR, the Treasury, all of the various activities of the finance function. And I think their process standardization, automation and simplification, and in some cases outsourcing of that, is going to continue. And there we're talking about more reliability and lower cost, and that's going to continue. I think the other 2 Ps are the most important in a way once you've dealt with protect and low cost efficient processes, which are the partnering, the business partnering. Well, I don't see that being so prone to automation. That's about ensuring that the decisions are the very best decisions for the business, and that's where the finance function really needs to stay very close to the business. Clearly better decisions can be achieved with more insight, achieved from better data, etc. But I think the business partnering role is something that the finance function always needs to step up to. And the final role is the people role, the 4th P, and that's I think going to be just as important as ever been. I think we're going to have in finance functions fewer people. We're going to need higher quality people, and they're going to need to have more emotional intelligence, actually, having to lead on the sort of business partnering agenda in the future. Well, I think the big trends that will impact us, whether we like it or not, are the advance of data, the advance of automation, artificial intelligence, that sort of particular area. I think it's going to affect our company, like all companies, in a number of ways. The sort of the basic level of reliability, cost, real-time processing, that's going to become more and more important. It's going to help with data analytics, whether you, for example, run a plant in a way to optimize the amount of power and the cost of power that's used in a plant, or whether you have more experimentation with areas like pricing. Rather than guessing what might happen, you can actually test what might happen in the future. So those are some of the, sort of, if you like, the basic areas, but I'm also very excited by the opportunity actually for finance to support the business by putting real-time data in the hands of people on the front line. So whether it's on their mobile phones or whatever, data that they can use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wherever they are in the world, whether it's a sales force or a marketing team. And I think that's going to be incredibly powerful and useful, rather than finance data sitting in finance books in finance departments, actually having that data available throughout the world. So I think the finance professional of tomorrow will clearly need to be very strong in data analytics. I think that's going to be a really important part of their kit bag. But there's some things also which are, I think, a requisite for the future. One is a very international outlook. As the world, becomes so much smaller, as data shrinks the world, as businesses have to operate across borders, having an international capability is really important. And I think emotional intelligence is really important as well. The EQ of finance people, as they influence the business more, as the business partnering agenda becomes stronger, having that. So data analytics, an international outlook and EQ are all really important attributes. Well, I wouldn't necessarily draw my own career as a perfect path, but one thing I didn't do is get qualified at an early age as a CIMA or ACCA or whatever, and I'd recommend that. I think it's easy to take a shortcut, but I think getting a qualification early on is a really good step. The second thing I'd recommend is get international experience as early as you can. There's nothing like working across borders and understanding what it's like to be in a different market, and there's a lot of lessons you can learn from that. And I think the third thing is, if you get the chance as a finance professional, go and run a business, even if it's a small business, but learn what it's like to have a monthly P&L where you get the results and the pressure it becomes on that. Because when you're business partnering, being able to see things from the sort of other side of the table is really important. It gives you a little bit of empathy, and you can understand why people are the way they are when they're receiving numbers. And I think it helps you become a better business partner if you've had some experience of what it's like to actually be accountable for a P&L. So I think that last one is probably one of the things that's most valuable, and even if you could only run a small piece of business early on in your career, it's a really good thing to do for a short period of time.